Mostly the Hopewell created circles, squares, sometimes octagons, and sometimes longer linear mounds, as we know. But also there were unique ones like this D-shaped mound right here, which is actually formed of 3 other mounds inside of it. There's a picture of the mound we've been walking along, if you will, or the wall, if you will, in 1891, once at this time 6 feet high. Here's that the snake-like interpretive pathway is designed simply to wear us out. I don't know why this sinuous interpretive trail, but here we are crossing what would be called a linear wall mound, if you will. You can almost see it here. Whether it is some modern construct or not, I don't know, because I don't even see the remnant of a wall inside this area in the drawing that we looked at. Okay, as we continue towards one interpretive site further on ahead, you can see that there is some kind of an elongated rise in the ground. That must be that large mound composed of, I think they said, 3 mounds. Okay, in this mound, which we can make out because of the difference in colorations between the area that was recently mown over the mound and that which wasn't. I'll pan around in the hopes that you can see about where that butterfly is the crest. He landed a little bit short of it. And it extends all the way around here. It was in this mound that a 8,000 flint discs were found neatly stacked on their sides in 2 layers. Here's the illustration of that. Here they are, 2 layers. And notice again that very specific materials were used, clay or whatever, to create these different distinct layers. A ceremonial purpose? For sure. You would think easily enough it represents perhaps some kind of a symbolic shelter, and that the different colorations might reflect whether it was deer skin or whether it was logs as the kind of buildings that they would be used to building. Well, the other mounds, Mound 11, several hundred pounds of obsidian from the Rocky Mountains covered one of the grave deposits, and 2 large deposits of copper objects were found in Mound 25, wherever that one is. One deposit contained pieces of sheet copper cut into complex designs and ornaments. The other cache contained copper axes, adze, and cutouts. It's thought that these objects must have played a role in large public ceremonies, but the true reason, of course, is a mystery. At that point, we'll go to look at what I think is the larger mound and its interpretive site. This is the largest Hopewell mound. Mound 25. It was 500 feet long, 300 feet high at its peak. 1.5 million basket loads of earth were needed to build it, all carried by hand. The mound was excavated in the 1800s and early 1900s, disturbed by looters and diminished by farming to the size you see today. Its large size and contents discovered during historic excavations suggest that it was important during Hopewell times. Interesting little archaeological tidbit, the impression of a basket was found in Mound 25. Baskets used, of course, to haul the dirt. Estimated floor plan of Mound 25. Presumably, if someone were interested, they could get a greater archaeological description of the detail in this. Which ones were structures, which were burial sites or caches is not designated, although there's the flat stones, more flat stones, more flat stones, so they certainly indicated something. This is the best vantage point for seeing the curvature as it's delineated against those trees in the background. No point in going closer. Wander off to the farthest north corner. Again, I'm crossing over another hump, but my guess is that this is probably an earlier farm road. Probably going through those trees over to another large field for the farmer. Looking back, if you look to the right of the trail, you'll see a little black spot. I think that was our... Okay, looking ahead down the sinuous trail, slightly off center from where we're positioned right now, you'll see in the distance a little white sign. I think that's the interpretive sign. But anyway, somewhere right around in here, from our view, didn't pick up on when I was standing at the mound there, is that it was inside that D enclosure. For example, we were probably standing about right there. Here was the mound. Used to be 3, and that's all that's left of it. And then there was a D enclosure, including all these other mounds. Notice the circular mound over here too. This is attempting to show us is the size that the footprint of the Great Pyramid, the Colosseum, Mound 25, and Stonehenge. From this vantage point, we're almost up to the trees, so I think I will continue further up so that I'm standing up in that corner up there alongside the trees, and that'll put us at the greatest distance from where we started. Like a hike through the trees, so I'll come back here. There's the break in the trees. Now back up to where I am. Hold on. I'm almost with my back against the trees now. There's our big mound off to the right, which would have been encircled by the D. And then this configuration of the big space, of course, got tighter in over towards that corner there. We'll go back and hike through the trees. We have something fairly novel because it's just about what you see. This little bit of a mound distance was part of a wall that apparently surrounded the entire complex that we could see. Now, take into account I'm probably 50 to 100 yards away from the perimeter of what we saw in the diagrams. It gives you a clue of the size of the wall. And of course we can see the depression here that is made from digging the soil out and putting it up on that mound structure. These are some progressive drawings showing how the Atal Atal was used. Notice there's the Atal Atal and there's the spear type device that was held in it, oftentimes shorter than that. Gardening like this might have been performed on small little plots of land and mix of the forest. From this vantage point, a little bit of a knoll, we can look across over there to the right, just on the edge of those trees. You can see the left edge of that large mound. But you can imagine that maybe there was a time when these big trees either weren't here or were cut down, and people could stand on these little knolls like I'm standing on and see more of this complex. Or was that idea important to them?